kissing with someone new, thinking I wanted to. Turns out I don't want you, I want you. But I'd be better without you. I guess I'm thinking about you. Now I'm a son. I want you. But I'd be better without you. I guess I'm thinking about you. Now I'm a son. I want you. I'm in his bed, right next to him, but he
This AU. Atsumu is a poetry teacher in this school you or I don't know shit about. However, there is something weird on it. Kyumi is a psychologist. He decides to move to this new city to get a new perspective to understand different situations. They meet each other in some weird circumstances. Location: university. Time: 4:30 p.m. That's all, guys. Have a great day and don't forget to bring more ideas for the assignment we are going to be working on. A blonde man with cute glasses said to the students as they were packing up. The classroom was big that it could fit 50 people at the time. There was a board for normal writing and a smart board on the other side in case some things were needed to be looked online. As the students were leaving the classroom and saying their goodbyes, the blonde waved back with a sweet smile. When every student left and only the blonde was left, he lets out a sigh, putting his hands up to cover his face. The blonde man, looking pretty attractive and in the age of 27, seems to be almost falling asleep on his desk. There were some assignments he still has to check, however he hasn't slept at all for the past 3 days. He has just been really busy. Atsumu Miya. Poetry teacher. Nice and easygoing but has more traumas than you will imagine. Atsumu had been having this weird dreams ever since he was 14 years old. He doesn't know who the other person in his dream is, however he feels sad every time the dream ends. Maybe because by being awake he can't see the mysterious person anymore. He has been trying to find clues that might help him recognize or remember something that could help him figure out who that person could be at the end. Sadly, nothing helps. Atsumu had moved to Osaka 6 years ago. At that time he was 21. Atsumu has a twin brother, however they don't talk anymore. Obviously there is a reason to it. And Atsumu hasn't and doesn't plan to forgive him. Never. Atsumu's parents had left them with their aunt when they were 6 years old. They never came back. It seems that they were kidnapped or something similar to that. It's just that there is no clue on where they are, or whether they are alive or not. Atsumu doesn't miss them. They always acted like he didn't exist and never were home. He actually grew up with a nanny until they left them with their aunt. Atsumu's twin brother's name is Osamu. When they were little, they were inseparable. However, nothing stays good for long. As they started growing up, Osamu became more distant. Atsumu had troubles to make friends because of his personality. He only had Osamu hair. That is until he betrayed Atsumu in the shitty way Atsumu never thought he would. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. We will know that later on. Atsumu had developed trust issues. He doesn't like to get too attached to people. He had been thinking about going to a psychologist to check if something is wrong with him. Because he thinks there is something. He was tired. Started to pack his stuff completely and decided to go home. He will finish those assignments tomorrow during his free time in the university. After all, he only had a few left that can be done in an hour. Going to the parking lot, trying to find in what spot did he put his car on, when a stranger starts running directly at him. At first, since the individual was far from Atsumu, He thought that maybe the stranger will run past him and that will be it. However, that did not happen. The stranger got closer to Atsumu. He was running out of breath. He looked at Atsumu with his dark eyes that seemed to be looking to Atsumu's soul. Dark like the bottom of the ocean where the mysterious creatures are waiting to get to the light. He had a black mask on and curly wavy hair that move along with the wind as if it were one of those K-drama cliches. So shiny and soft. So far yet so close. Claiming to be touched and played with until he could be satisfied. Until he could reach the sky and bath in the relaxing feeling of freedom. 2 moles on top of his right eyebrow looking like 2 stars that are using his body as if he was the universe. With the right shape and size to look so natural in his pale and soft skin. Oh, how he wanted to touch them. Kiss them until he could also leave a mark that could show the world that this god was real. That it wasn't some illusion created by their subconscious mind. That is trying the best it can to cope with reality every day. Atsumu thought that he looked pretty. No. Pretty is not enough word to describe the soft aura that this person can give even if it has just been seconds of standing close to each other. Even if they do not know each other at all. He's so tall. Taller than Atsumu, and that also makes him look unattainable to mortals like Atsumu. Because Atsumu was sure he was a god. He, however, wondered why he felt such familiarity. Like their souls are calling to each other by some invisible force that can't be seen for humans, but can be felt by them. For a moment, Atsumu saw a string from his heart to the heart of the stranger, but it disappeared as soon as Atsumu tried to touch it. Atsumu was dissatisfied. He feels that something really important just drained in his hands. So important that it might not be easy to know about until a long time passes. He was thinking about it, trying to get a deeper meaning as to what could it be and what has the stranger have to do with it. That's until the stranger got him out of his thoughts after catching his breath for 5 minutes. It seems that it hugged him to breath. He seemed as if he was breathing fire through his lungs and pulling it out as hot air by his mouth. Please help me, he said. Atsumu was confused. Why would this man need any help from him? He doesn't even know him. What do you mean? What could I help you with? Atsumu said, frowning. He doesn't get it. The stranger looks at him, with bored eyes that were tempting Atsumu to do something unimaginable. Something that he might or might not regret depending on the results. There was also deep concentration on those eyes. Atsumu saw the doubt and all the thinking the stranger might be doing in his head. Someone is following me. I feel like. I don't know. If you act like my lover or a friend and start talking about plans and stuff like that, they will see I'm not alone and leave. They are almost here and you are literally the only person in here. Hey. This was weird. Really weird. Why did he think that is a good idea? He is also a stranger. Where is the logic? But for some reason Atsumu couldn't say no to him. It was like a voice inside his body was telling him, do it, don't worry. It's okay. He didn't understand, but it seemed like it was his soul saying those things. That never happened before. He was curious as to why now. So he nodded. The stranger looks relieved, as if there were a big pile of rocks on his back and now they had been lifted out of him by just one action. Then looking behind discreetly, and taking Atsumu's hand softly, the stranger looks at him, silently hoping that this goes okay at the end. This okay? He whispered. Atsumu nodded, trying to hide the blush on his cheeks. The voice was so dark but calming at the same time, like being underwater but breathing comfortably and sleeping your sorrows away. Then someone walks close to them, coming from the direction where the stranger had come. At first it keeps looking around for something or rather someone. Then once it visualizes them, the new intruder stops. Atsumu took that as a clue to start acting. He just acted it out without thinking twice what he said only until he said it. Bye-bye, I missed you. Atsumu said while hugging the stranger who stiffed for a moment, before letting his body relax and melt in the hug. Atsumu was fascinated by how soft and natural his body felt doing that action. He didn't want to let go. It felt so good, soft and calm. Atsumu could hear his heartbeat. He was also sure the stranger also felt his. It was so fast. Both were so fast as if they had just run a long marathon for 2 days straight without any break at all. I'm sorry, love. I just had more paperwork than I thought. Will you forgive me? The black-haired man said, petting Atsumu's head softly. They didn't understand why the touch felt so familiar. As if their bodies had been programmed to do this action for years. HMPH. You're better. Or no kisses for you for a month. Atsumu said, pushing his lips in a cute pout. The curly-haired male smiled under his mask. Then they both noticed that the person that was following the curly-haired male had left. They both sighed in relief. Then, blushing even though reluctant, they let go of each other. Thank you. The black-haired man said. No worries. Atsumu responded, smiling at the stranger. It seems that he was going to say something until his phone started to ring. He checked and answered it. Atsumu was just standing awkwardly waiting for something he didn't even know. Not even a minute later, the stranger seems to become worried and looked at Atsumu apologetically, before running. I'm sorry, I have to go. I hope to see you again. He yelled. Atsumu just stood there, dumbfounded while mumbling. I didn't even get your name. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. It's been 2 weeks since that incident. And today is the day where Atsumu will go to his new psychologist. He is nervous. He asked for a free day on the university so he could take care of his business. I mean, they do want their employees to be healthy and mentally stable if they are going to be teaching other individuals stuff. Anyway, Atsumu woke up at 8:30 a.m. Usually he would wake up at 6:45 a.m. so he can get ready and leave his house at 7:36 or 45 am depending on how much time it takes him to eat breakfast and getting ready. Atsumu was eating breakfast when the image of the stranger from 2 weeks ago appeared in his head again. Atsumu wonders why he feels like he knows that guy from somewhere. But the more he thinks about it, the more confusing it becomes. It's 10:20 a.m. when he leaves his department. His appointment is at 11:05 a.m. so he starts to get going. It takes him about 25 minutes to get to the residence where he will see his psychologist. He goes to the desk up front, sees the time in the clock signaling that is 10:58 a.m. and asks her where is he supposed to meet his psychologist. The desk was being attended by a lady of no more than 45 years. Her dark brown hair was put in a high ponytail that goes past her neck. She looks at him, then looks down at her computer. After a few more tapping sounds that were torture for Atsumu, who felt like he was being judged by the lady, she looks up to Atsumu again. You can go already. It's room 66B on the second floor. You can take the elevator to your right. Mr. Sakuatsu will be attending you there, she said with a monotone voice. Atsumu nods and goes up. Walking around a little he finds the room. And knocks. You can come in. A deep voice sounds. It feels like Atsumu is being welcomed to heaven, but Atsumu can't help to find it familiar. But he doesn't put much thoughts to it before entering to the room. When he looks up, just at the same time the doctor does, their eyes widen in shock. It's you, they both said. Clearly they weren't expecting this. Sakuatsu clears his voice. His cheeks might be a little red, but Atsumu might not be so different. Sakuatsu then motions Atsumu to take a sit. I didn't think I will see you again. This is such a coincidence. Sakusa said. Atsumu just stares being awestruck. He just feels so lucky to find the person that has been running on his head for about 2 weeks. Yeah, a nice coincidence. Atsumu said, smiling. Maybe being in here wouldn't be so scary after all. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. So, Mr. Mia, to what do I owe the pleasure to have you here today? Sakusa said. Atsumu started to play with his fingers since he was getting nervous. This did not go unnoticed by Sakusa. No need to be scared. We won't talk about anything that makes you uncomfortable unless you want to talk about it. Atsumu sighs and appreciates the fact that he can take his time to talk about the subjects that he is not ready to talk about. He takes a deep breath and decides to just talk about his present and let the past be discussed some other day. Kiyumi agrees and they both sit on the more comfortable area of the office, where Atsumu can lie down and just talk. So, I'm Atsumu Mia, but I guess you know that already. Atsumu is nervous. Kiyumi waits patiently and Atsumu takes a deep breath before continuing. I'm a poetry teacher, and I love my job. It's amazing to find deeper meaning to some words that might just seem so empty to others, you know? Atsumu smiles while looking at the ceiling. Kiyumi finds it a pretty view. He also smiles unconsciously under his white mask. It might be amazing and everything, but lately I just have been so tired and kind of forced in a routine. I want something to make a change, but I'm scared to try it out. Atsumu's expression becomes sour. Kiyumi found that he didn't like this look on Atsumu's face at all. I try so hard to forget about the past, but it just comes back to haunt me every day. I don't even know how long I can last until I break down. Atsumu's voice starts to break down, sounding so small and fragile. Small tears form in the corner of his eyes, as if one more word will make them go down like waterfalls. I'm scared. Atsumu whispers in the silence of the office, his voice wavering and tears falling from his eyes. Kiyumi won't say it out loud, but Atsumu is the type that cries beautiful. It's okay to feel scared. It is normal to feel emotions. After all, we are humans. Kiyumi said, looking at Atsumu's eyes that were wet with tears. Kiyumi wanted to hug him, but that will not be appropriated in these circumstances. The thing is, you have to let your emotions out. If you keep suppressing them, they will overflow and overwhelm you at any moment. Kiyumi smiles warmly at Atsumu and says, "You did a great job." Atsumu smiles, drying his eyes with his sleeves as he sits up. He looks at Kiyumi while putting his hand on the furniture. "I'll be looking forward to work with you," Atsumu says. Kiyumi's eyes sparkle for a few seconds and with a smile under his mask he responds, "I'll look forward to it too." Part 1. Done. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Full stop. Part 2 start. Dart.